Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to embrace silence, not as emptiness, but as a space where everything begins. Let go of the need to force things and instead trust the process. Speak when necessary, listen when needed, and stay still when the moment demands. What is meant for you will never miss you. And when you are truly at peace within yourself, everything will come to you naturally. True power does not always lie in speaking louder or proving oneself through words. In fact, some of the greatest strengths are found in silence. Silence is not the absence of words, it is the presence of deeper understanding. It is in those moments of stillness that we truly discover our inner power, one that does not need validation from the world. Many people mistake silence for weakness. They believe that to be powerful, one must always speak up, always be heard, and always assert dominance. But history has shown us that some of the most impactful individuals were those who mastered the art of silence. They were not silent because they had nothing to say. They were silent because they knew the right time to speak. They understood that true power does not come from reacting impulsively, but from responding with wisdom. Cultivate patience. Life does not always move according to our timelines, and when things don't go our way, our natural reaction is often frustration, anger, or disappointment. But silence teaches us to pause, to breathe, and to trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. When we embrace silence, we stop forcing situations and instead we allow life to take its natural course. And more often than not, the things we once desperately chased come to us effortlessly when we no longer cling to them. Silence is also a source of clarity. In the noise of daily life, our thoughts become scattered, our minds overwhelmed, and our emotions uncontrolled. We react without thinking, make decisions in haste, and allow external chaos to dictate our internal peace. But when we take a step back and sit in silence, we begin to see things differently. We start to understand what truly matters and what is simply a distraction. We make better decisions, not out of fear or pressure, but from a place of wisdom and inner stability. Another profound power of silence is its ability to help us observe rather than react. Too often we feel the need to respond to every situation, to defend ourselves, or to prove a point. But true strength lies in knowing that not every battle is worth fighting and not every argument needs our participation. When we remain silent, we give ourselves the space to listen, to understand, and to choose our responses wisely. Instead of being controlled by emotions, we learn to control them. Silence also brings resilience. In moments of pain, suffering, or struggle, silence becomes our greatest ally. It is in silence that we heal, that we gather our strength, and that we rise again. Words often fail to express the depth of our experiences, but in silence, we find a language that needs no translation. It is in our quiet moments that we discover how strong we truly are. Silence aligns us with the flow of life. When we stop resisting, stop fighting, and stop trying to control everything, we create space for the universe to work in our favor. The things meant for us will never miss us, and the things that are not meant for us will naturally fall away. But to see this truth, we must be willing to be still. Silence is not emptiness. It is a space filled with potential, growth, and transformation. When we learn to embrace it, we unlock a power greater than words, greater than noise, and greater than the distractions of the world. We become unshaken, unstoppable, and at peace with ourselves. And in that peace, everything we seek finds its way to us. In the stillness of silence, we find ourselves. The world around us is filled with distractions, expectations, and endless noise that constantly demand our attention. We are pulled in different directions, making it easy to lose sight of who we truly are. But when we take a step back and embrace silence, we create space to reconnect with ourselves on a deeper level. Silence is not just the absence of noise, it is the presence of awareness. It allows us to listen to the voice within, the one that is often drowned out by the external world. In the rush of daily life, we rarely take the time to sit with our thoughts, to reflect on our emotions, and to understand our true desires. But in moments of silence, we become more in tune with ourselves. We begin to notice the thoughts that dominate our minds, the emotions that shape our actions, and the beliefs that drive our decisions. Self-discovery is a journey, and silence is the path that leads us there. When we allow ourselves to be still, we start uncovering the layers of who we are, beyond our roles, responsibilities, and societal labels. We begin to differentiate between what we truly want and what we have been conditioned to believe we should want. We recognize the fears that hold us back, the dreams we have buried, and the strength we have underestimated. We also gain clarity about our purpose. The answers we seek are not always found in books, conversations, or external guidance. They often reside within us, waiting to be heard. But to access them, we must be willing to sit in the quiet and listen. The moments of stillness, though uncomfortable at first, become a powerful space for self-reflection. They allow us to ask ourselves meaningful questions. What truly makes me happy? What is holding me back? What kind of life do I want to create? In the quiet, our intuition speaks louder than any external voice, guiding us toward the path that is meant for us. Creativity also flourishes in silence. Some of the greatest ideas, inventions, and artistic masterpieces have been born out of moments of deep stillness. When we allow our minds to rest, we give space for new thoughts, new inspirations, and new perspectives to emerge. Silence removes the distractions that cloud our creativity, helping us think more deeply and connect with the endless possibilities within us. Silence strengthens our emotional intelligence. It teaches us to process our emotions rather than react impulsively. When we pause and reflect before speaking or acting, we develop a greater sense of self-control and emotional awareness. We start recognizing our triggers, understanding our feelings, and responding to situations with greater wisdom. Instead of being consumed by anger, frustration, or anxiety, we learn to sit with our emotions, understand them, and then let them go. One of the most beautiful aspects of self-discovery through silence is that it allows us to build a stronger relationship with ourselves. When we embrace solitude, we realize that we are not alone. We are with the most important person in our lives, ourselves. The more comfortable we become in our own presence, the less we seek validation from others. We begin to trust ourselves more, rely on our inner wisdom, and feel a deep sense of peace that is not dependent on external circumstances. The journey of self-discovery is not about finding something outside of us. It is about returning to who we have always been. And silence is the key that unlocks this truth. It is in the quiet moments that we truly see ourselves, understand our purpose, and awaken to the limitless potential within us. When we stop searching outside and start listening within, we realize that everything we need has been inside us all along. The ability to observe without reacting is a rare but invaluable skill. In a world where people are quick to respond, quick to defend, and quick to prove their point, those who can remain silent and simply observe hold a unique kind of power. Silence allows us to see beyond words, beyond surface-level emotions, and beyond the immediate moment. It gives us the ability to understand people, situations, and even ourselves in ways that impulsive reactions never could. When we react instantly to situations, we often do so based on emotions rather than reason. Anger, frustration, excitement, or fear can cloud our judgment, leading us to say things we do not mean or make decisions we later regret. But when we learn to pause, to stay silent for a moment, and to truly observe, we gain clarity. We start to see the bigger picture, rather than just the immediate event in front of us. We begin to notice patterns, motivations, and underlying truths that would otherwise go unnoticed. Observation without reaction also strengthens our emotional intelligence. It teaches us patience, empathy, and self-control. When we listen more than we speak, we begin to understand people on a deeper level. We start to see not just what they are saying, but what they truly mean. We become more aware of their emotions, their insecurities, and their needs. This awareness allows us to respond with wisdom rather than impulse. with understanding rather than judgment. It helps us navigate relationships, conflicts, and even difficult conversations with a sense of calm and clarity. One of the greatest advantages of observing without reacting is that it allows us to remain in control of ourselves. The moment we react impulsively, we give away our power. We let external situations dictate our emotions and behaviors. But when we remain silent, when we take a step back and assess the situation first, we maintain control over our thoughts, our words, and our actions. This self-mastery is what separates strong individuals from those who are easily influenced by circumstances. There is also an element of wisdom in silence. Not every situation requires a response, and not every person deserves a reaction. Some arguments are not worth engaging in. Some conflicts are better resolved with patience than with confrontation. When we observe before reacting, we gain the ability to choose which battles are worth fighting and which are best left alone. This discernment saves us from unnecessary stress, wasted energy, and regretful words. Beyond personal relationships, the ability to observe without reacting is a powerful tool in professional and social settings as well. Leaders who listen more than they speak are often the most respected. They take time to understand the situation, analyze different perspectives, and make well-informed decisions. Successful negotiators, strategists, and problem solvers all possess this ability. They know that silence does not mean weakness. It means gathering information, processing it, and responding with intelligence rather than emotion. Perhaps the most profound impact of this skill is the inner peace it brings. When we are no longer controlled by the need to react, we become more centered, more grounded, and more at ease with ourselves. We stop feeling the need to prove a point or defend ourselves at every turn. We learn to trust that sometimes silence speaks louder than words. We become unshaken by external chaos because we have built an internal foundation of calm and clarity. Observing without reacting does not mean suppressing emotions or staying silent when action is needed. It simply means learning to respond rather than react. It means giving ourselves the space to think before we speak, to process before we act, and to understand before we judge. It is in this space that true wisdom is found. It is in this space that we gain the strength to navigate life with grace, patience, and unwavering confidence. The need to control every aspect of life is a deeply ingrained habit for many. We constantly strive to shape outcomes, force situations to go our way, and ensure that everything happens according to our timeline. But in doing so, we often create unnecessary stress, frustration, and disappointment. Life does not always move according to our plans, and the more we resist, the more we suffer. Letting go of the need for constant control does not mean giving up. It means trusting the natural flow of life and understanding that what is meant for us will come in its own time. One of the biggest challenges in life is accepting uncertainty. We fear the unknown because we believe that if we are not in control, things will fall apart. But the truth is, some of the best things in life happen when we least expect them, in ways we never could have planned. When we let go and allow life to unfold naturally, we open ourselves up to possibilities that we might have never considered. We begin to see that not everything needs to be forced, and sometimes the best opportunities come when we are patient and receptive rather than anxious and demanding. The more we try to control people, situations, or outcomes, the more resistance we create. When we push too hard, we may achieve temporary results, but they often come at the cost of stress, exhaustion, and even broken relationships. Forcing things to happen rarely leads to long-term success or happiness. On the other hand, when we surrender our need for control, we begin to experience a sense of peace. We start to understand that not every problem needs an immediate solution. Not every challenge needs to be fought, and not every question needs an answer right away. This does not mean we should become passive or stop taking action toward our goals. It simply means understanding that there is a balance between effort and surrender. We do our best, we put in the necessary work, and then we allow things to take their course. We trust that what is truly meant for us will never pass us by, and what is not meant for us will fall away naturally. This shift in mindset brings an incredible sense of relief because we no longer feel the constant pressure to control everything. Relationships are a perfect example of this principle. When we try to control people, whether it is by changing them, dictating their actions, or expecting them to meet our every expectation, we create tension. People do not respond well to control. They respond to trust, respect, and freedom. The strongest relationships are those in which both individuals allow each other to be who they truly are. When we stop trying to control how people feel about us, how they behave, or how they fit into our lives, we begin to experience more genuine and meaningful connections. Letting go of control also allows us to be more present. When we are constantly focused on the future planning, worrying, and trying to predict every outcome, we miss out on the beauty of the present moment. But when we surrender and trust that everything is unfolding as it should, we start to experience life more fully. We begin to enjoy the journey rather than obsessing over the destination. This shift in mindset is not always easy, but it is incredibly freeing. It allows us to release unnecessary stress, embrace uncertainty with confidence, and trust that life has a way of working out even if it does not happen exactly as we envisioned. The universe operates in perfect timing, and when we stop trying to force things, we often find that what we need comes to us naturally. True peace is found not in controlling everything, but in trusting that everything is happening exactly as it should. There is a deep irony in life. The more we chase something, the further it seems to move away from us. Whether it is success, love, happiness, or peace, the harder we try to grasp it, the more elusive it becomes. But when we let go of the desperate need to have it right now, when we trust, when we allow, when we remain open, everything begins to flow naturally toward us. This is the power of silent manifestation, of peaceful acceptance, of aligning ourselves with life rather than forcing our way through it. We live in a world that encourages hustle, urgency, and constant striving. We are told that if we do not fight for what we want, we will never get it. But the truth is, not everything needs to be fought for. Some of the most beautiful things in life come not from force, but from ease. They come when we are ready, when we are in the right mindset, when we are open to receiving rather than obsessing over getting. There is nothing wrong with having goals, ambitions, and dreams. In fact, working toward what we desire is essential for growth and fulfillment. But the problem arises when we attach ourselves too tightly to a specific outcome, believing that our happiness and worth depend on it. This creates stress, anxiety, and disappointment, because life does not always move according to our schedule. When we cling too hard to a certain vision of the future, we become blind to other possibilities, sometimes even better ones, that are waiting for us. When we practice peaceful acceptance, we acknowledge that we do not need to control everything to receive what is meant for us. This does not mean we sit back and do nothing. It means we take action with faith rather than fear. We put in the effort, but we also trust that if something is truly aligned with us, it will find its way to us at the right time. And if it does not, then something better is on its way. This shift in perspective is incredibly freeing. It removes the unnecessary burden of stress and desperation. It allows us to enjoy the process rather than constantly worrying about the result. When we are at peace with where we are right now, rather than always chasing the next thing, we become magnetic to the very things we once pursued so frantically. Opportunities come without struggle. The right people enter our lives effortlessly. The things we once worked so hard for seem to arrive without force. One of the most beautiful aspects of this approach is that it cultivates a deep sense of trust in life. We stop seeing delays as failures and rejections as punishments. Instead, we recognize that everything happens for a reason, and that sometimes what we think we want is not actually what we need. By surrendering control, we make space for miracles to unfold. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means understanding that true manifestation happens when we align our energy with what we seek rather than chasing it in desperation. When we stop grasping, we start receiving. When we stop forcing, we start attracting. The things we truly desire, peace, love, purpose, fulfillment, are not things that can be hunted down. They are things that flow to us naturally when we become the kind of person who is ready to receive them. Life has a way of giving us exactly what we need at exactly the right time. Our only job is to trust, to be present, and to remain open. When we do that, everything we are looking for will find us naturally, effortlessly, and in perfect harmony. Silence is not emptiness. It is a powerful force that shapes our thoughts, our actions, and our destiny. It is in silence that we find clarity, in patience that we discover strength, and in surrender that we allow life to flow naturally toward us. The world teaches us to chase, to control, to speak louder, but true wisdom lies in knowing when to be still, when to observe, and when to trust. We no longer react impulsively, we respond with wisdom. When we let go of the need to control everything, we invite peace into our lives. And when we stop chasing, we allow what is truly meant for us to come effortlessly. Life is not about forcing things to happen, but about aligning ourselves with the right energy, the right mindset, and the right timing. Everything we seek, success, love, happiness, fulfillment, comes to those who trust, who believe, and who have the patience to let life unfold as it is meant to. The greatest power is not in noise, but in knowing when to be silent. The strongest people are not those who fight every battle, but those who understand that some things are won in stillness. And in that stillness, everything we have ever needed finds its way to us naturally.